All right, well, many of us heading into work today feeling maybe a little more tired than we usually do. And given that today is National Napping Day, Mike, maybe that's exactly what I should be doing when I finish work. Or is it?
Right? Well, do you like napping, Sarah?
Oh, I find napping glorious, but that was only once. I transitioned into my 30s and worked in morning TV for over 10 years.
Oh, I am all about the nap. I'm telling you, Sarah, if I laid my head down here this morning, I guarantee you I could probably be sleeping within 4 minutes. And Cameron Mendick says he can beat me on that. I can nap anywhere. I love sleep, and of course most of us do, but most of us don't get enough sleep. So we're at the Center for Sleep and Human Performance this morning. Dr. Samuels is here, an expert in sleep. So we want to talk to you today because this morning I think a lot of Calgarians are waking up feeling groggy because of the time change. And I've got to ask, is this just in our heads or is it a real thing?
Well, it's not in our heads, not at all, no. So we definitely in North America run around with 30% of the population will run around with a 10 to 15 hour sleep debt per week, which definitely has an impact. So it's not psychological or in our heads, not at all.
Sleep debt. Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so the brain requires a certain amount of sleep, and each individual's requirement is different, but the range is sort of 6 to 9 hours a night. And what we recommend from a sleep health perspective is 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep for most adults.
I think some people are watching this at home thinking, I don't get nearly that.
No,
I know I don't.
No. And when I ask a group of people to actually think about how much sleep they got in the last week, and they say 40, 42, I go, most people need about 50 hours of sleep a week.
Wow.
And they're not getting it. And they're not really aware of the impact. And so this weekend is a really good opportunity when people wake up this morning and really don't feel ready to get in the car and drive and all those kinds of things, where they're more aware of how important sleep is.
They're realizing that they're behind. Okay, here's a question then for you.
Yeah.
Can you catch up if you're that far behind with your sleep?
So there's a limit. So we do talk about catching up on sleep or banking sleep for people who travel. So we work with the Olympic teams, and I work with law enforcement officers and shift workers and whatnot. So we talk about banking sleep because in those jobs and occupations, or for elite athletes who are competitive, their lifestyle leads to cumulative sleep debt. So we talk about, yes, you can bank sleep if you're traveling, so you can sort of put a little in the bank first and then lose a little bit of sleep, or have strategies for catching up on your sleep. But if you accumulate for long periods of time sleep debt, like shift workers do, it's very hard to totally catch up without returning to a regular lifestyle.
I love the idea of banking sleep. I don't know if it's possible with Cameron, Nick, and my shift, or Sarah back in the studio. But this morning we are going to be talking about sleep, and of course we're going to be talking about naps. How beneficial are naps? And we're going to kind of demystify some of those and maybe debunk some of the myths about naps. For example, should you be napping with your feet above your heart? Is that a real thing? Well, we've got the experts standing by this morning. And of course, if you have questions, jump on Facebook. We've posted it there. If you have questions for our sleep expert this morning, Dr. Samuels, make sure you post online and we'll try to answer those live this morning on air.